Welcome to iSet Robotics into Gear on your mark. This is the second unit on motors and programming. I'm Dr. Karp, one of the instructors of this class, and I'm delighted to give you an overview into the EV3 Robotics software and how to program the motors of your robot such that it does what you want it to do. This learning unit, we want to provide an introduction to programming, and we'll first show you an overview of the EV3 software that is used to program your robot. We'll then explain the firmware update and then talk about how the software recognizes which motors and sensors are connected to the EV3 brick. And finally, we will provide you with additional resources, basically videos that explain really well on how to do the actual programming of the robot. So let's first have an overview on the EV3 software. When you open the software, it should look either like the picture on the left where you see the educational edition, or like the picture on the right, the home edition. If you haven't installed the software yet, go back to the resources and please install the educational edition. The LEGO EV3 software is the environment which you will use evidently to program your robot. And you would create projects by going to New, and then a new program, and then Open, and that would get you into the programming environment. In this video, however, I want to show you what else you can do with the LEGO EV3 software and what other resources it offers. We have a whole palette here on the left side, and the first two items show you building instructions for other type of robots. If you go to model core set, it has instructions that you can build with the core set only. And the model expansion set has instructions for which you also need the expansion set in addition to the core set. So if we look into the core set, you here see pictures of the various robots for which there are model instructions available. And if I take the puppy, for example, and open it, then we first here have a video that you can play, and the video shows you what the puppy robot with the program on it can do. Then next, you have building instructions for the puppy robot. So you have 133 steps, so you need the core set, and you can step through, step by step, build the puppy bone, build the puppy. So the different items and steps until you have completed the robot. And once you've completed the puppy robot, you can go to step 3. And there you get a program. And if we zoom out a little, you can see the whole program. It's not important at this point yet that you understand all the steps of the program, but you can download this program onto the puppy robot and then run it and have the first program working. So this provides you with opportunities to build different robots, and if your learners are into construction, these are the examples they could build and practice their 3D thinking. Here are the instructions for the models that you can build if you also have the expansion set. And there also is an element survey that you can download here, and that element survey has all the names of the items and pieces and components in the expansion set. And that's a good resource to have. The model instructions are similar. You have the different robots. You open and you have a video. Next you have building instructions, and next you have a program for it. Now the file item is where the software starts, and it provides you with the steps to open projects that you've programmed yourself previously or to create a new project. Under Quick Start, you have, first of all, the user guide, and please download the user guide, the PDF, or open the user guide down here. It has lots of important information in it. Then there are programming examples, so you can kind of like play this overview on your very first program. There's a programming overview tab with more information on programming. So user guide programming, programming overview are tabs that you should explore right now. Then we have data logging. We'll get to data logging later in the class. We have a content editor. That's what you do with the bubble that always shows up. And you have some information on the content editor for the teacher if you downloaded the teacher edition, or shows the teacher edition when you installed it. If you have the student edition, this one you don't have. The robot educator basically shows you how to configure the different blocks for moving the robot. So you can go into all the different action blocks here, and you can play a video and then open the block and kind of like have the video here and have next a link to building the driving base. So if you want to build the driving base, the instructions that are also in the booklet, but they're also actually in the software here, so you can step by step build the driving base. You can then have an interactive animation of, if you use this program, what is each step doing, kind of like, and a testing phase where you can change the different parameters of the block, and finally a step of modifying, and you have some links to help. So it basically allows you to explore the different blocks of the programming software. These are the basic blocks. Then you have beyond basic, multitasking, looping, a switch, multiple switch with information on the hardware, like the brick display and how you can show your customized text or picture on the brick, or information on the hardware and the sensors. With data logging, it shows you the tools that comes with the software, and then building instructions for the basic robot, basically all the building instructions that you find in the booklet. And if we go one back up, so you see the different building instructions for the basic educator robot. Later on, you can explore the engineering design process and how robotics relates to engineering. And those are the options that the software provides you in addition to actually programming your robot. When you connect your robot to the software for the first time and switch on the robot, the EV3 brick, then most likely the following bubble shows up where it says firmware update EV3 firmware is available for your brick. Now it's tempting to just exit out or to say not now, but you actually should update the firmware, which is the operating system that's running on the EV3 brick. So press update firmware and then just don't touch the EV3 brick at all. It first prepares the brick for the update and you see red status lights on the EV3 brick, and then it takes a little while until the update has been completed. For the whole time your status lights will remain red, so just be patient. And then it says firmware update successful. You press OK. If the status lights on your robot are still red, you can look at its display. It says starting. Don't touch your EV3 brick, but just wait until it's done with the starting and the status lights turn green again. Here we go. So what does the software actually know about your robot design, and how do we know whether it recognizes the motors and sensors that are connected to your EV3 brick? First of all, take a look again at this picture that shows how to connect motors and sensors to the EV3 brick. It is important to note that motors are connected to the ports A, B, C, D, which are on top of the robot, and sensors are connected to the ports 1, 2, 3, or 4 at the bottom of the EV3 brick. You also must make sure that the connection cables click in on both ends, such that the sensors or motors are really connected. Next, you switch on your EV3 brick by pressing the center button and waiting until the status light turns green. And then you connect your EV3 brick. For the first time, I recommend via USB cord to the computer and open the software. On the bottom right of the software, you will see the so-called hardware page. And the hardware page shows you what the software knows about the robot that is connected to the computer. So in this particular case, the software sees that a medium-sized motor is connected to port A, and a large motor is connected to port B, and another large motor is connected to port C. The robot that was designed here also has sensors, with a touch sensor being connected to port 1, a light sensor being connected to port 3, and an ultrasonic sensor being connected to port 4. And it also shows a little bit about what these sensors measure. Now, that's basically all the software knows about your robot that is connected. So first of all, it doesn't know anything about the physical design of the robot. If we go back to the hardware page in the figure below, the software knows that 2 motors are connected to the EV3 brick in port B and port C. But what do the motors turn? Are they turning wheels, or are they operating an arm? The software doesn't know about it. Similarly with the medium motor connected to port A. What does it turn? What happens when it turns in one direction or the other? And with the touch sensors it is similar. The software has no idea in which direction the touch sensors face. So or the other sensors too, if the touch sensor is pressed, then has the robot hit an item in the front or the back, or does the touch sensor point up? Or with the ultrasonic sensor, is it pointing to the front, to the back? That distance of 32.6 centimeters that it measures, in which direction does it measure it with respect to the front of the robot? So keep these limitations in mind as you program your robot. The software doesn't know what you have designed, what your robot looks like, and therefore it can only do certain tasks. On the other hand, this limitation allows you to be creative with your designs and build or design whatever robot comes to your imagination. Now for the actual overview of the software and how to program the motors of your robot and how to create your first motion of the robot, we refer you to a couple of YouTube videos that are excellent. And you here see links to YouTube videos from 3 different authors. The top 3 are posted from Lego directly, and they give you an overview of how to create your first program and make your robot move, and also how to drive your robot. Then there are videos from Darren Wilson. The first one provides a software overview, and the other one shows you how to get started with programming the motor blocks. And finally, the last one is by Kevin Briggs, and it's the first tutorial out of a series of tutorials, and it's called Getting Your Robot to Move. So the recommendation is that you pick one of the authors and watch all videos from that author, and then you should know how to program your robot and drive it and make it move.